365 days can disappear while a CHAMPVA denial sits in the wrong lane. Professor Lindquist studies the paper trail between a medical bill and a reviewable payment decision. She is here because the first move is classification, not outrage.
A family opens one envelope and sees denied, 0 paid, or less paid than expected. A missing document can produce that result. It feels like one verdict, but it is usually a routing slip with a reason code attached.
Before Friday, put the explanation of benefits beside the bill. Circle the claim number and service date. Mark the provider and reason code. Then mark the amount billed, amount allowed, and what CHAMPVA says you owe. That's Rep 1.
Then ask what kind of defect the code describes. Missing information is not the same as a coverage denial. A duplicate is not a late claim. An outside insurance problem is not a medical necessity dispute.
That distinction protects the person at the kitchen table. If VA only wants an itemized bill, a formal appeal adds delay. But if VA made a real coverage decision, sending the same bill again doesn't challenge it.
Current VA guidance says a request for more information can be answered against the existing claim. Use the claim ID online or mail the requested documents with the CHAMPVA explanation of benefits or letter.
So the first checklist has 4 boxes: complete, correct, coordinate, review. Don't pick a form until one box wins.
Preserve the original explanation of benefits for reference because it indexes the processed claim and the reason for the result. It also carries the mailing date and the next action VA expects.
The dangerous part isn't the envelope, it's choosing the wrong lane from it. Walk with me because the reason code will tell us whether to repair the file or challenge a decision.
One caution at the start: the latest notice controls. Addresses, forms, and review rights can change. Use the current VA page and the instructions printed on your decision, not an old forum screenshot.
Good. One explanation of benefits, one lane, one next action. No giant appeal binder before breakfast.
Coming up, the reason code test. Is this claim incomplete, incorrect, or formally denied? Let me pause for just a second because this genuinely helps. If you are getting value here, hit that like button, then subscribe and ring the bell. It costs you nothing, and it is the single biggest thing that keeps these videos coming. Read 6 explanation of benefits fields together, with the benefit statement in the middle of the table, not the provider statement and not the collection notice. The CHAMPVA explanation of benefits shows how VA processed that care.
Identity comes first: patient and provider. Verify the service date and claim number, because a beautiful appeal about the wrong date is still about the wrong claim.
Once those match, run the money left to right. At home, marathon splits get ignored lovingly, claim lines can't. Pair billed with allowed. Pair not covered with other insurance paid. Read CHAMPVA paid beside patient responsibility.
Chris, allowed 600, billed 1,000. Was 400 denied?
Not necessarily. The bill to allowed difference may reflect the allowable amount, not a new bill the beneficiary owes. The benefit statement's remarks and patient responsibility field matter. Call CHAMPVA before paying a balance that conflicts with that statement. That's why I want a 3-document stack: provider statement, other insurer explanation of benefits if any, and CHAMPVA benefit statement. Same patient and same date. The reason code and service line remarks decide the next move. Misalignment jumps out.
Now the code. VA's current family member denial page translates common codes. 78 means the primary insurer's explanation of benefits is required. 218 or 220 points to missing or incomplete other insurance information.
Code 224 asks for added documentation. Code 391 points to a missing or invalid diagnosis. A duplicate code tells you not to fire off another copy unless VA instructs you to.
3 straight moves. Match the code, read the resolution, then gather only the named item. My fridge checklist has finally met paperwork it cannot overcomplicate.
Okay, that was good.
Straight paraphrase: the denial code and remarks control the repair. Don't infer the reason from the size of the payment.
Create a one-line case note. Write the claim number, date of service, code, requested item, and deadline. That note becomes the cover sheet for every call and upload.
And take a clean copy before you mark it. You want one readable original, one working copy, and one digital scan. That is a small rep with a large payoff.
The next decision is where people lose weeks. Does the beneficiary repair the submission? Does the provider correct claim data? Or has VA already made a decision that belongs in review?
Back with us at the desk, Professor Lindquist, help us classify before we escalate. When isn't a denial ready for formal review?
When VA has not reached the disputed merits. A returned form or missing signature is an incomplete record problem. So is an absent itemized bill, missing proof of payment, or missing outside insurer explanation of benefits.
So a code can look final while the incomplete file is still one document short.
Correct. Current VA guidance says missing documents, another insurer's benefit statement, or proof of payment don't require decision review. Complete the existing claim with
One correction before we leave that. The added document must stay tied to the existing claim. An unattached explanation of benefits can be accurate and still fail to repair the record it belongs to.
What about a diagnosis code the provider entered incorrectly?
That's source data repair for a payment or coverage claim. Ask the billing office to verify the diagnosis and procedure information it actually submitted. A beneficiary shouldn't invent a code or edit a clinical record to make a claim pay.
Then there's the true decision. VA had enough information and ruled the service not covered or not payable. It may instead rule the claim untimely or otherwise denied. That's where review rights matter. My catalog cabinet rule applies. Label the drawer so no evidence becomes an orphan.
Run it from the bottom. Missing document? Add it. Wrong source data? Get that source to correct it.
Actual decision? Choose a review lane, nothing else. A viewer might ask, can I just send a reconsideration letter explaining everything?
Don't rely on a vague letter. Follow the current decision notice and required form. A written statement can support a permitted lane, but it doesn't replace VA Form 20-0996 for higher level review or VA Form 20-0995 for a supplemental claim.
There is a narrow exception worth naming. The current denial code page says a late filed claim can be appealed in writing when exceptional circumstances prevented timely filing. That is not a general excuse to ignore the one-year clock.
That changes my answer. I would have called every explanatory letter reconsideration. The current process asks a more exact question. What decision? Which lane? What evidence is allowed?
Before you mail anything, call with the claim number. Ask whether the claim awaits requested information, permits a correction, or carries completed decision review rights. Write down the answer and date.
A phone answer does not extend a deadline. It helps classify the file. Preserve the notice and work from the written rights and current VA instructions.
Now we can assign the repair to the correct person because beneficiary and provider claims do not use the same submission path.
Two people can fix this file, and the wrong one can't do the other's job. First, who sent the original claim?
If the beneficiary paid the bill and seeks reimbursement, the current beneficiary form is VA Form 10-7959A. VA says to include proof of payment and a detailed itemized billing statement.
That statement needs enough data to adjudicate the care. It needs patient identity, billing office name and tax identifier, location, dates and quantities, diagnosis, and a procedure code or clear description. Those fields aren't decoration. Together, they let VA match the person to the visit. They connect the clinical reason to the submitted charge without guessing which record belongs to which line.
The form itself says it's for a beneficiary or patient. A sponsor or guardian may also use it. It isn't for provider-submitted claims.
If the provider filed, call the billing office. Give them the CHAMPVA claim number and service date. Ask what they submitted for diagnosis, procedure, provider identifiers, and other insurance payment.
Don't ask the provider to rebill blindly. Duplicate denials exist because a second claim can collide with the first. Ask whether VA wants a correction, requested documentation, or
What if the provider refuses CHAMPVA billing and tells us to self-file?
then the beneficiary may use the beneficiary reimbursement path if the circumstances fit, but needs the itemized bill and proof of payment. The provider still must supply accurate clinical and billing information.
Make the request concrete. Please send an itemized statement showing patient name and birth date, dates of service, diagnosis code, procedure code, provider tax ID, and service address. Save the reply. That's the rep.
Kind to the clerk, useful to the claim.
When you resubmit an existing beneficiary claim online, VA requires the claim ID. By mail, send the requested documents with a copy of the benefit statement or VA letter. That link prevents the repair from becoming an orphaned packet.
Label every page with the patient name and claim number where appropriate. Keep originals of irreplaceable records. Upload readable scans, not 10 dark phone photos with a thumb over the diagnosis.
The provider path and beneficiary path meet at one test. Can a reviewer match this document to the patient, service, claim, and denial reason without guessing?
If yes, the record is repairable. Before we get to the review clock, the remaining other health insurance mismatch is where the payment math must unlock. CHAMPVA is generally the secondary payer when a beneficiary has other health insurance. That means the primary plan processes the service first, and CHAMPVA needs the matching result.
The primary plan processes first, and matching means more than the same month. VA asks for an explanation of benefits with the same service date, provider identity, services paid, and amount the other insurer paid.
If there are two primary plans, collect two explanations of benefits, match the date, provider, and service on each one. Code 78 says to include one from every plan. Code 278 also points to
Erica, what if the outside insurer denied too? Take Marta, a 58-year-old CHAMPVA beneficiary in Ohio. Her physical therapy office sent 6 visits on one statement. Her primary plan processed only 5, so CHAMP5A could not match the 6th service line. The repair was not a new CHAMP5A claim. Marta obtained the missing primary benefit statement page for that exact date and tied it to the existing claim number.
That's a useful case because the visible problem was 0 payment. The actual defect was 1 unmatched visit. Find the smallest broken handoff before rebuilding the whole file.
Send the outside insurer's explanation of benefits showing that result. If multiple plans exist, include one from each. CHAMPVA needs the primary adjudication, not only proof that no money arrived.
Lay the pages in a row. Provider claim, primary benefit statement, secondary statement if there is one, and CHAMPVA benefit statement. Highlight the same service line across all 4. The missing handoff becomes visible.
And if the plan changed before the appointment, how do we report that change?
Update CHAMPVA's other insurance record. VA Form 10-7959C is the current other health insurance certification for enrolled beneficiaries reporting coverage changes. Codes 218 and 220 flag missing or incomplete other insurance information.
Don't just attach the new card to one claim and assume the eligibility record changed everywhere. Make the plan update as its own documented action, then repair the affected claim.
VA also warns that if other insurance was not reported until after CHAMPVA processed a claim, CHAMPVA may reprocess it. That can create an overpayment the beneficiary or provider must repay.
Exactly. The correct sequence matters in both directions. Missing primary payment can cause an underpayment or denial. Late disclosure can cause reprocessing and recovery.
Today's rep is a match audit, not a phone marathon. Check plan names, effective dates, service date, provider, service line, other insurer paid, and CHAMPVA paid. 7 fields.
One last practical question. What if the record is complete and CHAMPVA still says no?
That is where the filing clock and the decision review clock must be kept separate.
Back with us for the final desk pass, Professor Lindquist, close the loop. Which two clocks must we protect on the folder?
First, the initial claim clock, generally 1 year from outpatient care or 1 year from inpatient discharge. Second, the decision or benefit statement date that starts the applicable response or review period.
After the initial claim, there can also be a date on a request for information. Current VA guidance says to answer the missing information request within 1 year of the benefit statement or letter, but follow the specific notice because the written instruction controls.
Write the earliest plausible deadline in red. Add reminders at 60, 30, and 14 days. A perfect packet mailed after the clock expires is not a perfect packet.
Now assume the claim is complete and VA made a payment or coverage decision. What is the clean review choice?
Higher level review is for an error in the existing record. It uses VA Form 20-0996, takes no new evidence, and generally must be requested within 1 year of the decision.
A supplemental claim uses VA Form 20-0995 for new and relevant evidence. That could be a missing outside-insurer benefit statement or corrected itemized bill. New and relevant doesn't mean thicker. It means a page not considered that tends to prove or disprove the disputed point. Later filing can affect the date tied to any award. Follow the notice.
That's the decisive distinction. If the missing document arrived today, higher level review can't consider it. Put it in a supplemental claim and say exactly which denial reason it answers.
Okay, the form, not the letter, is the lane.
A board appeal may also be available, but it is a different level of review with its own choices. It generally carries the 1-year decision letter clock. Follow the notice. For most billing corrections, first ask whether the record was merely incomplete.
Build a narrow packet, copy of the decision or benefit statement, required review form, 1-page issue statement, and the evidence permitted in that lane. Identify the claim and service date, then name the reason code, requested correction, and supporting page.
The 1-page statement can be 5 lines. What VA decided, why you think it is wrong, which record proves it, what result you request, and how to contact you. Then attach an index.
For mailed CHAMPVA review requests, current VA guidance lists the Veterans Health Administration Office of Integrated Veteran Care Appeals address. It's P.O. Box 600 in Spring City, Pennsylvania 19475. Claims use P.O. Box 500. Don't swap them.
Verify that address on the current VA page and your notice on mailing day. Keep the complete packet, proof of mailing or upload confirmation, and every later benefit statement.
My final rule is simple: no orphan evidence. Every page should answer a named denial reason and tie back to the original claim. Thank you for having me at the desk.
Professor Lindquist, thank you. Chris, give them the 5-minute start.
Open the benefit statement. Write 5 items: claim number, service date, code, lane, deadline. If one is blank, that is the next call, not a guess and not a giant appeal packet.
Here's what I'd actually do. Treat a CHAMPVA denial like a records problem before it becomes an argument. Complete the file, correct the source, and coordinate other insurance. Invoke formal review only for a real decision. That settles it.
If this helped, like the video and subscribe. Save the episode beside your benefit statement and share it with the person handling the billing call. Never post personal health information or a claim number. Before you go, which benefit statement line is still unclear? Is it the code, payment math, or review right? Walk away with this. Classify before you escalate. Preserve the notice, protect the earliest date, and use the current VA instructions. Be kind to the version of you that didn't know this yesterday. See you next time.